parties and the problem we've faced as a country. Because many of these problems, before you focus on whether the FDC is confused, some of them are deliberate. If you remember the slogan of President Museveni when he was campaigning in a referendum where he was the only one, because even Ochegere, who headed the other group, is now an ambassador as a result. He said, Tubejeko, for us, we are not a political party. And Abbas, stand one, you can be punished for saying it's a political party. He said, you're not a political party. So for me, what bothers me as a person is the quality of politics, the quality of debate of this politics. And at the end of the day, political parties, and most of them, you have 14 hunters who are parading themselves as leaders. Your people are looking for quick fixes. Even what you want to call the confusion that you see, part of it is because we're not dealing with the conditions under which we do politics. In fact, what you may think is confusion is a result of deliberate actions that are being taken. You go, I've said many times, you want to organize a rally, then you go to Museveni to seek permission. You are competing with Museveni through police because he brought a law in parliament. And then he will say, this one you will not have. You're going to disrupt Kampala. And in the following day, you're going to see the same Museveni not only moving in Kampala, but closing roads in Kampala to go on the campaign, throwing money as if he's possessed. And for him, that is the multi-party democracy that the NRM, the good NRM, ushered in. That they will be the only ones doing the politics, and then they will tell you for your confusion. We've defeated you here. You have a few MPs. You don't do this and this. So therefore, the struggle that you see all of us going through is as if multi-party was never restored by the Constitution in 2005. We are still fighting to have multi-party functioning in Uganda. Unfortunately, with people who seize the power by use of gun, I don't think they will ever allow that to happen. Okay. And that's why even within themselves, before you discuss the environment under which we do politics, the NRM continues to operate the same way it was operating when they were a rebel group in Irwero. Okay. So you want to contest against Mr. Museveni, you are in trouble. Okay.
Quick fixes, you are being accused of being fortune hunters.
Let me first help Honorable Semuju.
As you respond to Semuju on the issues he has raised, take also the issue alongside the issue of whether you think, in your view, that since 2003 or 5, when multipartyism was restored, that the quality has either gone up or has been reducing.
Yes, as he comes, if you can allow just a second. You see, in Tanzania, even when they were changing the constitution, the whole idea of financing political parties, Tanzania believed that political parties are public institutions. The individuals who are running them are disposable. They're not going to be there tomorrow, but Tanzania as a country will remain. Okay. But these fellows think they're going to stick there forever.
Well, we are not running our country according to Tanzanian laws, fortunately. We are running our country according to our constitution and Ugandan laws. Secondly, the fact that a peasant perhaps does not know that gravitational law, the law of gravitation exists, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. When a mango falls, the peasant simply knows that the mango oranges has fallen. They do not know that there is gravitational
Is it
force.
Important?
Now you can see him. He's saying the fact that you are not aware or you don't know that NRM is a political party doesn't mean it is not. That's one. Two, Dr. You had just asked here, what is a political party? By our constitution, by our laws, and by conventional wisdom, a political party in the first place should have membership, some membership. Is there anybody on this table who wants to say that NRM has no membership, written or otherwise? Secondly, it should have some leadership. Is there anybody who wants to say NRM has no leadership? 3, it should have structures. Is there anybody who wants to say it doesn't have structures? And for Honorable Salam Musumba's own information, NRM's constitution is that we hold our National Delegates Conference. We call it a national conference once every 5 years. And we usually hold that conference the year preceding the election, the last year to election. Like in this case, we shall hold it 2020, about June, July. And we have done so consistently. We have conducted primaries for all offices of NRM except the national chairman and the presidential candidate. If that disqualifies us, in spite of the other things that we do, a political party should have a minimum program that it sells to the population, to the electorate. Is there anybody who wants to contest that NRM does not have a program that it sells to the population, to the electorate, in terms of manifesto, and when we win, and so on and so forth? 6, a political party, this is the tail end really, the contest to take political power. Is there anybody on this show who wants to say that NRM does not contest to take control of government? Whether or not you seem to think that that contest is unfair, the truth is NRM contests for those elections. Okay. Now the issue should be, how can we make the contest if it is not good for Semuju? But we are not here to appease Semuju. No, we are not here to appease you. We shall use our might within the laws of Uganda to decisively take government. Now, and
disrupt the opposition,
including disrupting them, if campaigning or exposing the charlatan in them, exposing the emptiness in them, exposing the bankruptcy in them. Like now we have had them saying that for them, their concentration, Honorable Ma, all of them have said that their main, when Honorable Ma was listing the list of their goals, was removing Museveni. Now, assuming...
Is that a crime?
Assuming Museveni is no longer, does that goal end? And they are really saying that they want to be NRM political machinery to confront. Is that what they are saying?
I think so they are saying that the NRM is tied to Museveni or the other way around.
Well, and that's why I started with the first one. That the fact that you are not aware that the law of gravitation exists doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Okay.
The ones who think that NRM is tied to one man, Museveni, yes, for now, and we have no apologies to make on the fact that Museveni is our leader, and we are willing for the foreseeable future. Those of you who don't want, both on this table and watching, those of you who don't want Museveni to be on the ballot paper, who don't want Museveni to lead,
if you're talking to the people, the other people out, look at them. Look at them in the camera.
To lead NRM and to lead Uganda, we can just advise you, go and hang, because the NRM, we the members, the membership of NRM,
we need to break.
We the leaders of NRM are still willing.
This is what people say when they have no arguments.
Let's break now. When we come back, I'll bring in Mao and the rest.
Do we do the hanging during the break? Or?
Let's go for the break right now.
Frontline.
Gentlemen and lady, welcome back from that break. We are back on air. As they say, we are back. Honorable Mao, before we went into the break, OO had already gone into the issue of what parties are supposed to have and what they're supposed to do. But I needed you to take it from the question that he had not touched on, the quality. In your view, has it improved? Has it gone down? Has it been downgraded? In your opinion, what is the status?
First, to add to OO's misery, during the break, I got a message that there's a blackout in Gulu. Blackout sponsored proudly by the NRM.
Have they confirmed they're the ones who sponsored it?
No, in Africa, everybody who dies is bewitched by the neighbor or someone. So it is possible.
No, the way they look at you. Anyway, you have got to know that we have a dysfunctional democracy because in a working democracy, you cannot design monopoly. Nature itself abhors monopoly. That's why even all the lions don't eat young members of the prey because they want to preserve something for the future.
That's when it's not hungry.
Now the rabid nature of NRM will in the end work against NRM. It is a historical fact. And NRM does not exist as a political party. It is some juggernaut which is well oiled with public funds, which relies on the state instruments of coercion like the police, intelligence services, and the army, and which uses RDCs. That's what they call their structures. The structures of NRM. Haven't you seen the real structures going to protest that they are not being used? Today I saw the structures of the youth storming the NRM headquarters. So
you're now cancelling what you have just said.
No, it's not. No, I said the real NRM structures, which should normally be the structures, is not what the NRM is.
There's regular operation and special operations.
Anyhow, those are things that don't need any further verification. The facts speak for themselves. Now, concerning the other parties, like DP and UPC, naturally, many of those who came from the bush had two agendas. Number one, to discredit the old political parties, saying they were based on religious sectarianism and tribal sectarianism. The same accusation could be leveled against NRM. If you look at number 001 to number 0030, it is one hill in one village. So which organization is more sectarian than NRM? And after 32
That's not NRM. That's something else.
If after 32 years, the structure has basically remained the same. And it is up to Ugandans to talk about those. It is unfortunate that people like OO will continue disputing that. But the NRM, it is good they chose a symbol like a bus. A bus has drivers from one region, one village. It has passengers, then it has luggage. Now the luggage are the ones who defend the bus most vigorously, even though they have no say about the destination.
Is there any member of the luggage group in
For
on
the
this
sake
table?
of peace, I'm not going to mention names here.
So nobody from here is a luggage?
No, I've said that I'll neither confirm nor deny.
But if the luggage has capacity to transform from luggage to the driver, don't undermine it.
Now, the position of driver is there is no change. They say those days in Busoga College, Mwiri, during the election of the Old Boys Executive Committee, the returning officer would be Comrade Luuliza Kirunda, and he would get a chalk, that's according from an authoritative source, and he says elections. Then he puts patron, Dr. A. Milton Obote, chairman, Dr. Luuliza Kirunda. Then he says, nominations are now open for other positions. That is how in
I need to bring in...
elections are also held.
Okay.
But don't hang the old parties, because you must know that for 20 years, we were not allowed to operate.
Okay.
So before you say DP is weak, UPC is weak, I want those who say that to undergo 20 years of the torment.
Okay. Dr. Bed, do you think that...
What a scapegoat.
do you think that we have Or what is in your view is the future of political parties given the current to use your word, given the planned disruption?
For me, I think we have moved forward as a nation since 2005. We are not yet where we want to be. We have moved, even when those who are in government don't like it so. But you know, because of the education now, the level of education in this country, people have been empowered. You know, when people get information, then they know what to demand for. And that's very important when we talk about democracy in any country. The more people go to school, the more they begin to
yearn for better quality.
Yearn for better quality, and then even their demands change. I was analyzing the 2016 turnout of results. You can see that now in the villages, people have the way they vote, the way the presentation has started to change. These media houses, let's not discount on the work that we are doing. People outside there right now, they are not in their bed, they are listening, they are watching, they are being empowered. We need to do much more. It will present differently when we get a middle class in this country. We are still far away from that. But when we reach a middle class, it will present differently. The kind of candidates that are going to present, the kind of demands that will present, they are going to be very different. It may take us, I don't want to say that we are going to achieve that during the NRM, but I want to say that we are not where we were 20 years, 30 years ago. We have moved. We need to put
in the positive.
Yes, we need to put some tools in the hands of our people. For instance, since 1995, the Constitution is still in the English language. We need our people to begin to understand what is it within the main law. We need to translate. These are small tools, but so critical to empower our people. When you go down in the district councils, in the sub-county councils, people still want to deliberate in English. You are seated with 100% people from a sub-county in Padhe, in Kitugum. You still think that you should bring out your point in this English language. We need to look at these small tools to put in the hands of our people so that they will begin to deepen the democracy we are talking about.
Okay.
When you look at, for instance, the Electoral Commission, the current law came out of the movement system in terms of how the commissioners are appointed, the composition. We need to look at these few things as we deepen democracy.
Okay.
Yes.
Honorable Salam Musumba, let me go back again briefly to the trigger that started us on this debate. Your colleague, the Honorable Munyagwa, made a comment and said we chased out, or those who went out of FDC are people that we did not, who are not necessary, who are not needed. Do you think that kind of, thinking, isn't it dangerous? Because if you are supposed to pull together in order to go forward as a team, as a stronger team, why should some people be unwanted in an outfit like an opposition party? Do you think that is healthy?
I don't like the questions. The questions are so begging. They're disempowering. For me, I'd like to use these words. One, our entire effort is to immunize this country from political hawkers. They hold a bag here today, they run there tomorrow. They don't. Political hawkers are a danger to multi-party democracy. And this country had better know that and begin to define us as such. NRM has been very successful in decapacitating the leadership in all parties, including itself. And so there's a big threat of eroded leadership in the entire political class. This should worry everybody. You know, people who are leading in the world economies are not gamblers. You know, they are not gambling their future the way we are. And so the narrative on this table remains so annoyingly 30 years back that we are not ahead. If you were to draw a continuum is a scale. A scale to ask ourselves, what progress have we made since independence in having institutionalized politics? Institutionalized politics is the safeguard for our future, because you will have collective values, collective aspirations that you can aggregate and put on the table and get into programs. That's why you see NRM walks away with just slogans. Prosperity for all. I am waiting. I am waiting.
To prosper.
For us, we want to be one Uganda, one people. We want this country to be united.
You are not even one party.
No, let me tell you.
You are not even one party.
We are not supposed to be one party. If your aggregate aspirations disagree, you part ways. But that doesn't mean that as a country we want to move together. There's a deficit, a democracy deficit, that we must address as a country. And you annoy me. Because if you used your brain better, what you know better, you would be putting on the table things that will grow this country. But you choose to rationalize, you choose to apologize, just to be around, hanging around, or even if you are around for the next 30 years, with the way you have chosen, this country will still demand better. And so for me, my request to all of us is really to use the platforms we have in all the political entities we work for, to have a robust multi-party democracy that we are proud of, that is made by us, and it is propagated by us and sustained by us. What we have here is a guy, bragging, we have Maje. I mean, that's exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
This
Honorable Abbas.
That's what you're telling.
Honorable Salam Musumba is talking about collective values. And do you feel challenged, especially taking it from what you raised initially, that it's about numbers, it's about winner takes it all, it's about loyalty? Do you feel challenged that your thinking avenue is probably not fitting in the collective values that we should have as a country? Or you think that is how it should be?
What do you call collective values? We have values we have identified as a country. But you see, I would like us to get out of the classroom and go to the field. My chemistry teacher of A-level, Mr. Walugere, would tell you, please enter the beaker and be part of the reaction when you have substance reacting in the beaker. When I go to the field to look for votes, what is that earns me the vote? This is what is at the mind of a politician, unfortunately.
Just a minute. Let's hold on to that. It's a good point you make. Honorable Salam Musumba, just hold on.
Together as a country.
As a leader, and I'm just asking you, qualitatively, as a leader, isn't it part of your role to help guide the gullible, disadvantaged, and sometimes ill-informed population that this is the better trajectory in terms of quality?
It's a core of leadership. I agree with you entirely.
Or you should come down to burials, promise a bridge where there is no river, distribute soap for which one is which?
No, as a leader, you must guide your people.
Yes.
Okay? And assure them of where you are taking them. I think this is why...
Give direction, give leadership, actually.
The president wins, wins the elections. there are some decisions that are very difficult. Sometime I was with him in the campaigns in Kasese. And that time, I think I was much younger in the politics. It was a comparison of, we want Obusinga now, and if you don't give us Obusinga, then you forget about our votes. He had issues with Obusinga at that time, although other areas had got their traditional leaderships.
Apart from Ankole.
Yes, others had got Ankole as not yet, but Kasese in particular, that side. He stood his ground and said, please, if I must give you Obusinga now to give me votes, then I'm likely to lose those ones. But if you're willing to work with me, we go past elections and we talk about Obusinga, then I'm ready and available to you. So this has been there. It's a call of leadership. But let's open up together. I mean, we have leaders in opposition, leaders in the ruling party. When we go for campaigns, what is that influences the voter to give us votes? Today you'll see a very eloquent member of parliament, because a member of parliament does four things. We represent our people in the parliament, or the ideas. We do the budget, that's the accountability. We do supervision, oversight of the government projects. Okay. Now, there are those who do that and concentrate on that. In the election, they will not come back. So there are other factors surrounding you being a member of parliament, you being a politician, that you must deal with. Now, what do parties do to build their people? When you are from the ruling party, for example, me, what I would have thought is that the ruling party concentrates also in that area, such that those people in that area, because they voted a member of the ruling party, they benefit from government. But it's a fact, it's also on record that many times, even those from the ruling party are complaining, the roads in my area are not worked on, the roads this were not worked on, and sometimes even such works in opposition areas are prioritized. So that's why I'm telling you, let's get out of the classroom and enter the beaker and go to the field and be alive to what is happening there. I can also comment briefly on the maturity or the quality of political parties you asked about. I don't know what you mean exactly by quality, but when a cockroach is growing, it metamorphoses. Now, during metamorphosis, there's a stage we call ecdysis. You know, metamorphosis, there's a stage we call ecdysis when it's not actively growing, it's kind of dormant. That's an ecdysis. But during that stage, we expect that it's developing structures, the wings, the head, and blah, blah, blah. Now, we think, like Honorable said, the political parties, the 20 years, maybe have been undergoing an ecdysis of metamorphosis. But unfortunately, at the end, when you want to see their structures well developed, they're able to fly when they're on their own. It's not possible. There are more separations, more divisions. But you can understand it because no political party is in power and leaves its opponents or empowers its opponents to unseat
the latitude to
I
grow
mean,
and
in the 1960s, the common practice was crossing the floor.
Yeah.
Yes, people come from this side, they cross the other side. That's how governments operate. If you look for KANU today, KANU is an independent political party of Kenya. You will not find it. Why? It has metamorphosed into something different. Okay. United joined with other parties, and you have new formations in the politics of Kenya, which are influential now. I'm sure in the next 10, 20 years, again, you find something different. So that's part of the process of growth of parties in Africa. Why? Let me finish with this.
Just in 10 seconds.
Normally, unfortunately, the target is power. Honorable Mao made it and critiqued it. The aim is power. Now, after power, what follows? What next? Parties in UK and other
deliver service to galvanize
parties in UK and other places have principles on which they differ with the others, and they keep on those. Even if they take 20 years without going to power, they will keep on those. But in Africa, you must change. You must keep moving around. Drumbeat your opposition against the ruling party, such that people find you a better alternative.
Is it very hard in Uganda to talk about quality of politics, quality of elections, as Semuju earlier referred to?
It is very difficult to talk about quality. Indeed, the politics we're having is rough. But that should not be an excuse for not engaging in the politics. And I think some people are using this more as scapegoat. I was asking Honorable Semuju during the break that because he likes taking this excuse. NRM is a state party. It uses government resources, it uses intelligence, it uses... I say, yes, that may be true. Some of the accusation, of course, is false. But let us even say they are 60% or 80% true. How come in a number of constituencies, the same machinery did not defeat you, the opposition? So the real issue should be internal qualitative organization and leadership in the different political parties, and particularly the opposition. Now,
why not NRM also?
And I was coming to that. And in NRM, NRM has qualitatively been improving. First of all, when you are attractive, you get more contention inside. Don't think that the contention is NRM is because NRM is not appetizing. It is actually because it's appetizing. That's why it attracts over 2,000 candidates at its primary contest for parliament, for members of parliament. 2,500. Okay. It is because people know that once I get the flag of NRM in 50% of the constituencies of Uganda, you are home and dry. Two, and the rider to that, is that if you look at the elections of NRM since 2005 to 2005, there is no election of NRM that has been very peaceful. We have always had friction, sometimes even blood.
Like in Arua, where someone even cried.
Yes, and we have castigated that, and we have said, really, there is no reason why, either within NRM or even with our competitors, there is no reason why we should go to those levels of destroying property, of shedding blood, because then we shall not be different from other parts of Africa or even from our history, which we are seeking to run away from. But most important, if you look at the turnout of elections in NRM, the attrition, we have not had any single primaries of NRM where we have not lost more than 67% of sitting members of parliament, sitting LC5 chairmen, sitting councillors. That in itself, in my view, is a positive. How do we enhance that to ensure that even when we have stiff competition, they are peaceful, they don't cause disharmony that is difficult to reconcile, whether in NRM or with the opposition. The same kind of debate we are having here with Honorable Semuji, we disagree very, very strongly on political issues. Okay. Honorable Salam Musumba, we disagree very strongly.
But you agree
but
on a national agenda?
Both national agenda and even immediate personal agendas. We don't have, we don't break each other's leg. And I would want to see. I would want to
break each other's legs.
Yes. I would want.
They break other people's legs.
I would want to see an NRM, and especially because NRM we are the ones in the leadership of the country, that we must behave better.
Okay. Would you rather your members run to the party and to stand for these elections for something more qualitative than what people perceive that what unites you most is money and the possibility of resources?
I think
would you rather?
I think somebody here talked about national values.
Yes.
Salam Musumba. You don't just gulp into the national values. You build it gradually, progressively. And I think that's where all of us should.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
About 50% of NRM leaders may be going there because of money. The people, Salam Musumba said, were fortune hunters. But I think the other 50% are good people who go there because of what they perceive is a good, broad causes.
Honorable Semujo.
Just finish this one. Just last week, I wrote, and not just once, I have castigated. I said, this should not be the NRM because penniless peasants supported this revolution. There should be no excuse.
With their blood?
With their blood, with the little pieces of cassava. There is no reason why the NRM leadership today, who are more affluent, should be accosting either the president or anybody for money in order to be in politics.
Honorable Semujo, do you think in terms of looking at the future, there is some more optimism that we can see?
It's difficult
for political parties.
Before I joined politics, the president tended to rely so much on violence. In the first, I think, 2 elections, especially the second election under the 1995 Constitution, I think someone must have advised him that you can use money more than violence. Of course, the temptation is still there. The moment he's about to lose, he will resort to violence. The trouble now, and I remember one time when we had him on a radio station, I told him, you see, the level of commercialization of politics is going to kill this country. And he's the chief promoter. You have an election in Rukunjiri, and then he rode his trucks full of money, and he goes, these days, he was in Chireka throwing money at non-existing groups, campaigning every single day. Because you see,
Trump has been campaigning.
And you think Trump is such a good example?
Well, if you don't think he is, I think.
You see, when the military, the Ruero people started leaving the military, retiring, if you had handled that process properly, I had started believing that when you get young people who have gone to school, who are detached from the history, probably you'll have an army. The politics today is getting worse every single day. I told the NRM colleagues who were in Parliament, 1989, when there was a resolution in the NRM Parliament to extend Museveni's rule by another 5 years.
Called NRS.
Whichever it was.
NRM.
Museveni did not have to bribe anyone. They actually thought that what they were doing was right. Today, let me tell you, starting with the removal of term limits, he has to go and print money and buy MPs. This particular one we have just...
Honorable Semuju, just a second. The day the extension of his term without election was approved, he first invited the Minister of Finance to make a statement offering Toyota Stouts.
This was 1989?
Yes. So this thing has a history. There's a method to the madness.
So are you suggesting that Semuju is not accurately informed?
No, I mean...
No, he gave a bit of the history, but he added. The Chairman Mao has just
added. Am I suggesting that you are not informed? It is like if somebody says so-and-so stole a goat, and they say, no, he also stole 3 cows. Then you, in his defense, you say, are you suggesting that the witness is not well informed? Theft is the theft.
That's how we run politics. If you look at the whole group that the president went to fight with in Ruero, his contemporaries, either they are out or they are no longer active. The group now you have in Parliament running NRM, I don't know who would want to be in their hands when eventually their master has collapsed, as is his plan. So my own fear is that unless something fundamental has happened, we may not have a country. People just think it's a joke.
So it is still
just look at all the countries where strong men have been in power for a very long time, from Somalia under Siad Barre to Egypt to Gaddafi to everywhere. So there is a high risk of losing the country the day Museveni might go with the country with the skeleton that exists now, because he has done so much to emasculate even his own political group. Because I sometimes wonder, who does Museveni have a discussion
So no
with?
hope, no optimism for now, only pessimism?
No, I'm just being a realist.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I keep telling my friend Opono that if you don't care about him, at least you should care about your own children.
Okay, let's go for a break.
You're cheering
Our
up
last
the man
break we
as
take now, and then when we come back, we shall be making a comment on the huge theft and abuse of money in the sports sector.
No,
let's go for that break.
Buy. So who's doing the buying?
With the chairman, you like talking about sports. You like talking about sports, but this is the negative part of sports in our country. You're talking about money to build stadia disappearing, then the construction plans, vanishing, whatever is happening. Then you hear the report is about theft and theft and theft. Do you think that what do you think should be done from what you have been reading, especially this last 2 weeks?
I have so far presided over the writing of 3 manifestos in Uganda. I worked on the 2006 manifesto
11
of John Sebana Kizito. I worked on the DP manifesto when I was a presidential candidate in 2011. I also worked on the Go Forward manifesto of the candidate we supported, former PM Amama Mbabazi. In all those manifestos, we tabled a comprehensive program for investing more resources into sports. First and foremost, sports is capable of branding a country. For instance, you know that because of ice skating, Canada brands itself as the destination of choice. There are countries like Korea that brand themselves through judo. In fact, when you think about judo, you only think about Korea.
And sumo.
Yeah, when you think about cricket, there's no way you are not going to talk about Pakistan and Sri Lanka and India, Australia, and even South Africa.
Rugby,
when you think
South
about
Africa
soccer, you are going to
Brazil,
think about Brazil,
Argentina,
yeah, all those countries.
England.
Now, when you talk about athletics, long distance, there's no way you are going to avoid talking about Kenya, Ethiopia, and also Uganda to a certain extent. Therefore, the fact that money meant for building sports infrastructure, which potentially could be a source of tourism, because there's something called sports tourism also.
True.
Yeah. There are places like in Scotland where millions of dollars pour in because of golf. I've seen a very good golf facility on Entebbe Road, the Serena golf course. So it's a shame that we are hearing reports that money meant for upgrading Nakivubo, for upgrading the
Akibwa Olympic Stadium.
John Akibwa Olympic Stadium, as the monies have been diverted and people are tinkering with accountabilities. It is important that these people should be brought to book because they're undermining an important investment. Sports is very important for the wholesome development of our young people. Those days when we were growing up, we had something called PE. I don't remember us having overweight children.
The physical
Honorable
education
Salam,
program.
did you ever have?
For us, we had gymnastics under Idi Amin. It was the best thing.
So we nowadays the obesity among our children.
The emphasis with which you say it is even feels more painful.
Yes.
Heavier.
So I saw the president the other day launching something.
Physical education something.
Yeah, he's very good at launching. And to use Ofono Pondo's famous illustration in another context, is like a hen that lays eggs but does not wait for them to hatch. Then he moves to lay others.
Okay.
It is really a bad sign. I call upon the local government public accounts committee and indeed also the public accounts committee proper to tackle these matters.
Okay.
I saw the MPs breathing fire, but unfortunately many of our parliamentarians stop at breathing fire in the corridors when cameras are pointed at them. They don't go back to do the hard work required
let me
to bring to book thieves.
Oh, I'll come to you after, but let me, since Chairman Mao has made mention of MPs breathing fire, Honorable Semuju, this the unearthing of this rot has been brought out by COSASE. You chaired COSASE, I think, at one time, and you authored, you know, a number of reports, but there was one which was about gross mismanagement of some of these structures, and you know, do you think that there is any headway made or the situation is getting worse from your perspective of Parliament and its role?
You see, I recently did a story about corruption. When Dr. Speciosa Wanderakazi went to study at Harvard, and she writes the State House Comptroller complaining that because the president offered her 2.5 billion, that if you don't pay me this money, I am coming back, I'm going to abandon the course. I did that story. I was even invited on many radio stations. It looked a very big story. Today, you will see stories of stolen money as briefs in newspapers. Because now I think we are at a level where we are used to these stories of stealing
1 trillion,
large sums of
500
money.
billion.
So maybe this particular one has caught the attention of you and the media, maybe because of the way it was done, more or less like the one who had sold goats to go and buy huge chunks of land from government. So the drama in it is what became the story, not the stealing. The trouble, because you see, you have.
Do you disagree with us? Because you see, you talked about metamorphosis. The metamorphosis of corruption. At one time, you would hear 100 million. You would hear that they have done work for the 20% or 80%. But now, nothing is there. You don't find anything.
I was watching, and what they did
like
was,
in the case of Nachivubo, it is just an arcade, no stadium.
Because you see, regarding sports, you have two problems. First of all, this government doesn't care about sports. Nambole is my neighbor, donated to us by Chinese. Even what they call a 40,000 seater, the seats are not there. The lights that were left by Chinese are no longer on the market. The other day they were complaining that I think we had a match and the electricity went off, and the lights in Nambole are lights of so many years ago. The stadium was never completed. It is now sandwiched by rubbish and from all over Chira. So I raised this matter and I say, I mean, you are promoting Uganda, paying a lot of money. There are people who, by virtue of sports, come to visit Nambole from various countries. Can't you make it a facility attractive? Because if you go to see the Amahoro in Rwanda, it's not the size of Nambole, but it's very attractive. People can even go and take photographs at Amahoro in Rwanda. But these fellows don't care about sports. Their sports is to go and do bull roasting in Chankwan. But the bigger problem of stealing, I think we will come to a time when we went into the last parliament.
The
and
ninth.
you had, yes, the 9th parliament, when we had Kawakumba Masiko accused of stealing a mast. Eventually she was forced to resign. I told people now, the moment you are appointed by NRM into a job, the expectation, even from those who are appointing, is to go and serve yourself. Something that happened to government of South Sudan. I remember, I keep saying, so government of South Sudan, when the population dismissed the government of self-service, even the president, the way he appoints people, I remember in Masaka when Patrick Chigun died, and the wife had been appointed a judge. And she said, I want to thank the president. Because I went crying, I told him Chigund was left children, and he appointed me a judge. So you can see the
expectation.
Yeah, that's what she said at the funeral.
I remember that.
You are being appointed not to serve, but to help yourself. And those who have no discipline, they help themselves. They will Kawakuma Masiko.
Honorable, Mr. Ofono Opondo. Honorable Semuju accuses your party of having no plans for sports, that you actually don't support sports. But just as a reminder, look at what Parliament is bringing out. The state of Nachivubo, an arcade instead of a stadium. But government has budgeted for it. We are told Parliament has passed money for that. Akibwa Olympic Stadium, there is no money. This is in Lango. In Lira. Of course, the Nambole Muju has talked about. Then the high altitude plan in the one of in Kapchorwa, no money. And then the one of Dokas in Zikuru, nothing in West Nile. What is there to show that you support sports and that you're serious about some of this?
I hope those of us. I hope those of us with the presidential appointments in our houses, including Salam, don't.
He keeps winking.
I wish the camera could catch him winking. I wish the camera could catch winking at Honorable Salam, and then
because Honorable Salam and I have presidential.
You know that she's called Honorable Salam Musumba. And
yes.
the Musumba will see you winking anyhow.
No,
you will be in trouble.
The other day we met at State House and took issues with me. He said, why are you looking at my wife? So,
that one cannot be verified.
No, but anyway, the point is...
Thousands look at her. Will he complain against
it is disheartening, but I think it goes to the core of our accountability, budgeting and accountability mechanism as a country, as a government. Because there's almost no sector where accountability is perfect. The instant case of Akibua, I think, and the high altitude test school were promised in the 2011 campaign. It was written in the manifesto. The president did what he did, and the party did what they did, was to pronounce themselves on a policy. Indeed, some budgeting was done. Some money, initial money for doing initial work was released, but there was no follow-up. I think we took our eyes off the ball as usual. But let us even...
As usual.
Yes, as usual, because it is widespread. It's not just about Akibua, it's not just about... I watched my young brother, Ham Chigundu, who was raising issues that should have been raised at the time of perhaps bidding. He's saying... Bidding? I'm saying, yes, even if it was head-hunted, that would still be okay, in my view. But
he hunted himself in the
yes,
State House.
because if you look at the case of Akibua, for example, even when they tell you that $1 billion was released, you ask them where is even the plan, the architectural design, against which the $1 billion it doesn't exist, against which the $1 billion was released. Where is the initial study that was done that we want to build a stadium of this capacity, of this design? It is not there. So clearly you see people who took advantage of a presidential pronouncement and took money. Honorable Semuji likes throwing back.
If the fortune hunters mouth is talking about.
Honorable Semuji.
Buccaneers.
Honorable Semuji sits. No, Honorable Semuji sits in Parliament, where and I think that's where I would take the noise, as the Honorable Mao talks about the noise in Parliament. I would take it with the pinch of salt. That Parliament imported or they brought voting machine. I think electronic voting machine. Is it working? Is it functioning?
Is it MPs who brought it?
No, I am saying you members of your Parliament, the accountability institution.
You can't oversee your
You can't oversee yourself. you remember your issue with the parking lot. You remember your issue with the voting machine. Now you have to vote manually by voice. Now, if people like that cannot even supervise the purchase and installation of a voting machine in Parliament, why would anybody have faith in them in supervising spending across government? So I think they are making this noise for purposes of camera. I don't have a lot of faith in the noise coming from Parliament.
Let's move on. Chairman Mao. Honorable Semujo, while you were away, Chairman Mao gave us counseled us and said sometimes you have to bypass. So we usually sometimes bypass certain things. So let you bypass. Honorable Salam Musumba, corruption in sports. Do you think, and OO has said something that you seem surprised about, that as usual we took our feet off our eyes off the ball.
He confirms that corruption is systemic and endemic. It means it runs through the system and that is so embedded in the way of doing business under NRM that you will...
Government.
Okay, in government, thank you. In government...
What should we do to the sports fraternity?
No, let me say
with this level of...
The only...
The flagrant
the only,
theft of money.
The only different thing here is under whose watch has this happened? Under whose watch in the Ministry of Sports and Education? Under whose watch has it happened? It has happened under the most celebrated born-again person.
Was this under the current minister?
I don't care. It is the minister.
Wasn't
in charge.
it under...
Because when you make me the minister...
help us yourself.
Listen, when it's the minister, please don't try to privatize government. A minister is a minister.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay,
so,
agreed. But
you
for the
must
record,
also
I think this was under my friend, Honorable Jessica Lupo.
No.
Because Kosase sometimes works on...
Under whose watch has this happened? I can't change. Listen, a minister, you see, the biggest problem we have...
I agree with you. I agree with you. A minister is a minister for government.
And the same government.
Yeah.
The first thing would have been to correct all these things. To correct all these things. All these things must be corrected.
You've mentioned no name, but he's quick to say Arupo. Maybe Arupo is also...
You know they are in such a hurry.
Maybe Arupo is also born again. She has only said under the most
not that it was
again.
her involved. Parliament has not yet brought out that. For us, we are still following what Parliament is bringing out.
Yeah, but the Honorable Salam Sumba says this has happened under the most celebrated born again. Yes. And you were saying it happened under Arupo.
Efficient.
Was not.
A most efficient person. And the appointment is by design. It's not by mistake. For me, this corruption that we are all discussing time and time again is by design. It is by design. Actually, the budget, the whole budget framework is a corruption scheme. They know where the money is going. They chase it from design. They actually sit and organize seminars at bars of how money will leave and how accountability will be done. It is an entire scheme.
Okay.
And it is in one language.
Language of money? Language of money?
And let me tell you, the best place to be is to sit and people believe you, and the whistleblowers will bring all sorts of things for you. Because you see, when they disagree at their beer parties, at the beer seminars, when they disagree on how to share, then you get the information. When they agree and actually execute and share properly, you never get to hear. Because they start from Auditor General, they go to Ministry of Finance, they go to the user. The whole thing is well neat. So guys, let us do something different. Let's address the budgeting. Who sets the priorities? And how do the priorities get seen through as they happen? You know, one time under local government, the Swedish government, or the Swedish Auditor General, or IGG, was helping local governments on how to deal with this thing called corruption in today's terms. And they had offered this service, or this expertise was available to government to make it a foolproof, corruption-proof government system. And they refused.
Okay. Honorable Abbas, is your government a corruption scheme, especially when it comes to designing a budget, that it is just to steal?
It is.
You know, the other time, the last time I was here, the Honorable Salam said that in Usoga, if a person is speaking, I don't know if I said a woman or a person is speaking, you don't listen to what they are saying, but you look at their eyes to confirm what they are saying. I try to look at her eyes properly. I hope I don't get the accusation of phone God. But I try to be keen at her eyes. I think what she was saying is different from what her eyes were communicating. And that's where I want to start from.
Which one was telling the truth?
The eyes were telling the truth.
The mouth?
The mouth was telling something different from what the eyes were saying.
And the heart?
Her eyes told me that...
I am not the topic, sir.
No, but I'm trying...
Please, no.
I'm picking up from where you ended.
No.
Okay,
Discuss
okay.
the topic,
Okay,
not
okay.
me.
Okay.
You told her eyes.
Her eyes told me, because she says you hear by the eyes, not the mouth. But for purposes of
guys are
let me push
interesting.
forward. Odonkso and colleagues, why would anybody reasonable condone corruption in any government? Really, why?
Because it's
Especially a government of the people. It's not possible.
Why would anybody stop? Why would anybody fail deliberately when they have the power to stop corruption?
No,
or nip it?
you see, you cannot say, you need to substantiate on your claim of failure.
No, even from the World Bank indices over the years, there was one time, I think about 15 years ago, when the World Bank would say that Uganda was losing about 300 billion to corruption. Later, after about 4 years, it increased to 500. Eventually, now they're talking of about between 1.2 trillion and upwards. Isn't that an escalation? You
yourself said that corruption has metamorphosed just like others. There has been, you see, the more you legislate, the more people become wiser on how to beat the law.
Look at his wisdom.
Do you have a problem with it? Do you have a problem with it?
To beat it.
No,
Wisdom,
exactly. But that's what is happening.
Wisdom, please.
When I went to boarding school, and every time you tighten the wall of the school, the more the students will be thinking about how to jump over the wall.
You see what trouble we have.
But
you see what trouble we have.
Let me because in a certain school I know.
Talk about Namagunga, there's just a fence.
In a certain school I know, students escaped to go and dance, and they spent 2 nights out. By the time they came back, the school had dug a pit just along where they had passed to go.
Why do I think you were the leader of that group?
No, some other school.
But that can't be a role model, surely.
But the point is, people have become wise. You see, there have been methods of tracking corruption. At one point, they were informed that when these people go to sign contracts with government, they go with money in sacks. They no longer want to wait, pay my money, pass on the account, what. The contractor goes with the money in the sack and gives the PS signs the contract, and the person goes away. That has been discovered. And other legislations put in place. Legislations put in place to curtail corruption. But let's speak about sports particularly. Me, I thought, when you say this has been discovered, it has been discovered that there was ongoing rot in the sports fraternity. It's actually glaring and embarrassing. To learn that about 200 million was given to compensate people who were cultivating on the land of John Akibo Stadium. This is government land. Now, even those who were compensated, there's no writing memorandum to say, please, you have received this money and you're expected to quit this place. But there's nothing. Two, like somebody mentioned, money was given even without a plan, an architectural plan or design for the stadium, etc. Things have been going wrong, but this has been discovered now and it's been exposed. Who is in the ministry? It's the Honorable Janet Museveni who is there. She was castigating her of overseeing the corruption. But on the other hand, why wouldn't you say it's good she's there because this has been exposed? Maybe it is because of her that has been exposed. My approach is different. My approach is different.
These things are in Parliament. They are not brought by Qatar.
No, but there have been whistleblowers who have brought them. There are so many I know.
So she's a
whistleblower
now.
No. But because she's there, it is possible to talk about it, to bring it out. Why did they talk about it before the other people were there?
You end the
but the other point I want to make is the other point I want to make.
Have you heard what Honorable Semuji is saying?
I did hear it.
That we are ending the show, you should end well.
The reason I did hear it is because I didn't want to hear it, so you don't tell me. Now, true, not everything is well. Nobody is there as a sign of commitment of the government to sports. If nobody is leaking, some glasses are broken, let the government repair them. Really, we cannot say that because Namboli is in a sorry state, therefore the government doesn't support sports. So, in the first place, why is it there? Really, why is it there? Two, Nachivuvo has been there for a long time. If there have been some irregularities in the works of the my former student actually, Ham Chigun. This is my former student, but
Is that what he learned from you?
no, if there have been some irregularities in the work sales, there is a business. I did teach him business. I taught him chemistry and biology. I don't know where he dropped it. But if there are irregularities in his implementation of the contract with the government about Nachivubu, let's rectify them. But that does not indict the government.
Do you have time to talk to him?
We are friends.
Can you ask him why he is putting an arcade in the stadium where there should
I don't know the contract he signed with the government,
Charles,
so I don't have
that
to.
he was going to build for you a
to,
stadium.
That was the contract.
Number three, and maybe the last.
Yes.
No.
It needs no emphasis. Really, there's no need for emphasis
I think we should be able
about
to ask the contract.
Why don't
Because-
they ask for the plan?
And the phase.
Those
No,
guys
with
out.
the ham, with the ham, with the ham,
What
with
was
the-
the
at
plan?
least
They
with
can
the-
be
with the ham,
investigated,
With the ham, the
but-
plan is there. With the ham, the plan is there. I think the issue should be execution, timeline, and which phase comes first, and so on. And I think
Okay.
usually we blame the investors, quote and unquote, and we don't want to hold our government officials to task.
The overseers.
Because Ham did not go to Nakivu by himself.
Okay.
There was a government
We need to
process
wind up.
that-
Yes,
that-
Abbas,
that-
yes,
that-
wind up.
there's no
That's
re-emphasis.
the
I
government
think
Oh, and the Honorable Semujo, let's listen to Abbas wind up.
on a more positive note,
Yeah.
sports is one aspect, the aspect that unites all of us, really.
I don't think so.
Myself and the Honorable Semuju and others, when you find us at Rugogo in the morning training,
Yeah.
you can't imagine Semuju is the other side, I am this, or even others. They are more. We are free. We are friends. We are united. And when we go out to participate
You
for
are
our
just
country,
present on
No.
the same pitch.
that is your own opinion. That's your own opinion. Why don't you listen
Okay.
to my opinion? Who is there? I'm
You
the
are
one.
not friends,
You
for
enter the
sure.
beaker, Honorable Musalam, and feel the reaction. Be part of it. Then
Okay.
yes. So
Okay.
it's a
She's
good
in the
uniting.
beaker.
She has not entered.
She has been in the beaker longer
Okay,
than
I'm bringing Honorable Dr. Bwanika.
Okay, well, let me just close this and say, sports, for all intents and purposes, is so important because it is the buffer zone. It's the neutral ground where everybody will participate freely
all
without
that Abbas,
any.
all that Abbas is saying that this government, this government supports sports, so they promote it. Isn't that all he's saying?
There's evidence show that the government supports sports.
Okay,
Thank you.
And therefore promotes
Dr.
it
Abed
and-
Bwanika, your view on the rot in the sports fraternity.
No, the rot is in government.
From sports perspective, but also from the corruption perspective.
I'm just thinking about someone who is not a Ugandan watching us somewhere, maybe in a diaspora, they listening to a branch of corruption now in Uganda called sports corruption. That's how deep. That's how deep corruption is in this country.
Yeah.
That it has even branches. This panel now has been given the opportunity to discuss a branch called sports corruption.
Then there is a health corruption.
Yes, one day we'll
Then
be here.
there is a political corruption.
Yes.
Then infrastructure corruption.
Yes.
Security.
Then
Yes.
security corruption. CCTV corruption.
That's how deep.
But
You know that the CCTV cameras already have been stolen, a number of them, especially around Old
Yes,
Kampala, I'm
yes,
told,
yes.
and those places.
For-
So corruption in branches.
So you mean
Yes.
they
But
don't
the
see the
import-
thieves?
But the import of the debate is that by the time
the recording
PDP
is in my
comes to power, all this will have
So
been.
they show who
this is-
Education corruption.
Yes, that's those people want to do thesis. I wish Makere was still deep. They could pick on because these
It
are.
is still deep.
These are. These
It has
are
died, yeah,
a number of thesis that someone can do. I was
Someone who
so.
can chase children
I
for
listened to
social media postings.
for the first time. OO separates government of Uganda from NRM. When you talk about corruption, he labored to tell us there is a government.
At
not
what point did he separate them?
For the first time, he labored to tell us.
Rightly so, because no. But let me just give information. Rightly so, the people appointed, the government officials.
Give information to
Yes,
Dr. Abed, not
the-
to OO.
Okay, let me.
The time is for Dr.
The
Abed.
government officials are not NRM per se.
Oh,
we don't know their political leaning. They don't have cards.
Okay,
We
okay,
didn't-
Dr. Abed, wind up.
They are Ugandan.
We
Dr.
didn't
Abed
know.
wind up.
We didn't know that they know that. We didn't know that they know that. But corruption is the legacy of the NRM government. What we are going to fight with post the NRM is this corruption that has become a culture. It is now beyond just an evil. It is a culture, not only within, but even their children they are giving birth to, because they are transferring the genes. This is something that...
Is it genetic?
This is something that we are going to fight with for many years as a country. Me, I'm very worried. I'm very worried.
That is a pastor who is worried. He should be preaching optimism and hope for the country, but because he's a politician, he is expressing more worry. Dr. Abed Bwanika is leader of the People's Development Party. Thank you so much for having time to come. We really appreciate. The Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, Opposition Chief Whip, and also MP for Kira Municipality, a regular member of this panel. The Honorable Abbas Agaba, Kitagwenda County MP. Honorable Chairman Mao is DP President General and the frontliner, Mr. Ofono Pondo. Media Center boss and the frontliner. Honorable Salam Musumba doesn't give in easily, a strong fighter, very strong, and all the way from Busoga. She is a frontliner, but also vice chairman of the FDC. Thank you so much, gentlemen and lady, for finding time to come here. From the team here, the producers, Sabiti, Chris, and the entire team, the crew, technical, and all that, and one of them, Chris, actually, happy birthday to you. We thank you for the work you do, Chris Rujumba. But from the entire team here at Frontline, always keep it Frontline. Until next week, God bless you. Gulu, tomorrow I'm with you. Saturday is I'm in Gulu for...
Sunday, I'm in Gulu for MTN
You
Marathon.
should come with me for the Saturday function of the girl child, promoting girl child education, and our team is going there, and we shall be there on Saturday to promote girl child education within Gulu and then later on in Gomba district. But thank you so much. Until next week, God bless all of you. Bye-bye.